Gave it a few hours for the paint stripper to do its job. Gave it a rinse, and this is what I've ended up with. It's not bad. Inside's pretty clean. You know, I cleaned out this gasket channel with a little brass. Is it brass? What is this? Yeah, brass brush. No, so I didn't scrape all the all the what's it called? The channel where the gasket goes. So should stop any potential leaks. This has come out quite nice. I'm definitely going to use the paint stripper again on the other one. I probably should have done this with the engine casings, but I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, very minimal scrubbing on this, which was lovely. Probably going to take the other one off, get some paint stripper on there, slap that stuff on. I'm not using anything special. It's just this from I think it's the cheapest paint stripper that Screwfix sell. The only reason I went for this over anything else is because I recently stripped a bunch of paint off of the tiles under my log burner in the house, and this was really good, so I knew it worked. I'd not used it on metal, but I did use it on that paint in the house, and that stuff was thick, so I was fairly sure it'd be easy to eat through this spray paint, which it did. I just had to leave it on there for like an hour, stick a bit more on after that, and it came off really well, so pleased with that. So I'm going to crack on with just getting the remaining dust and dirt out of this thing, and then I'll probably just wrap this up in a plastic bag, stick it on the shelf like everything else that's cleaned up, and move on to the next bit. So there we go, that's this one off. I was just taking a minute to clean out any of the gasket remnants on the inside of the cylinder head, just because I don't want any of these tiny bits of whatever this is. I know it's probably like liquid gasket sealant probably, but this has just been way too much put on, and it's obviously squeezed out everywhere. So I didn't want that falling in there. I didn't really want to have to fish it out. So yeah, I just took a minute with a little nylon brush, made sure none of that fell in. This one is covered in it, so I've just, you know, peeled most of that off. The gasket is knackered, as you'd expect. Again, this one is just covered in a bit of grime, bit of dirt. The paint on it isn't too bad. It's pretty uniform, but it's just not great. I know I can definitely paint this better myself. So the plan is take these little stainless plates off. I'll probably polish them up while this is sitting in a paint stripper. While that's happening, clean these up, and then like the other one, that will just go in a bag, sit on the shelf, wait till I've got some paint and I get around to that stage of painting everything. I don't really want to finish these, you know, paint them, finish them, and then have them sat there. So I'd rather get everything off, everything cleaned, and then when it goes to the painting stage, that'll be when I can just paint all the things, and then I know they're 100% finished. There's nothing left to clean, and the only thing left for me to do with it is put it back on the bike. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this apart, clean it up, stick in a bag, stick it on the shelf. parts cleaned up. Just hit everything with a wire brush. This wire brush has sort of disintegrated to the point now where on a low speed it's a very light brush. So using it on things like, you know, these chrome bolts, it does absolutely nothing to the chrome, but it does take off any sort of surface marking or anything like that. I'm just gonna label this bag. What is this? This is the front cylinder head. I'm going to chuck all these bolts in it along with the rubbers. Actually, I'm going to wash those first. All these bolts. You probably saw me cleaning the bolts, the bolt heads and the threads. The threads it makes sense to do, maybe not on these because these do get exposed to a lot of oil, but especially on ones that have come from like the crankcases or something like that where there's been some corrosion on. Cleaning them definitely does help before you stick them back in with like what's it called, copper grease or anything like that. You don't need to do it, especially the heads. I think I do it because I get it from my granddad. He was a motor engineer at Cosworth, and I remember going into his garage when I was younger, and he had a Triton motorbike, which was half Norton, half Triumph, and everything, I remember the whole bike was just in jam jars. And every bolt, every nut, every washer was polished. And I remember him telling me that nothing goes back on the bike until it's clean. And I think that's probably where I get it from. This, I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking parts off of a bike, changing the part you need to, putting the parts back on exactly how you took them off. Nothing wrong with that at all. Bar a few exceptions where you, like I say, you've got corrosion, or you know, you're introducing an area of rust that isn't protected because that protection has been removed for whatever reason, or if the part just needs replacing in general. But generally there's nothing wrong with using the same parts without cleaning them up. It's just a personal preference for me. I am taking this bike to pieces bolt by bolt, and I am going to end up putting it back together, and what I don't want to do is put dirty bits back on the bike. So that's what I'm doing. I think that's the first time I might have recorded doing the bolts with the wire wheel, but I have done it with every bolt I've taken off this bike so far. Anything in a bag has been cleaned, and that is essentially the process I'm going to follow going forward. Right, while that's paint strippers doing its job, I'm going to get my stainless steel polishing kit out again. Comes with this little reverse thread bit that goes in the chuck of your drill or whatever. I don't have a, what's it called, a polishing machine, drum thing, whatever it is. I did have one, and then I moved house and it vanished. This thing works fine. It confuses me every time though with the reverse thread. So I am going to go through the 3 compound stages again. This has like, I think I mentioned it in the first video, it's got like a coarse wheel with a coarser compound. I know you meant to sort of brush this on here and then do the polishing. Well, every time what I found is it just shreds this thing to bits and then it just goes everywhere apart from the wheel. So what I do now is instead is I just basically colour in the part. So, you know, bit of that, and then polish it off with the wheel. It works fine. I'm more than happy with how it comes out. So that's the plan. Do this one, same stage for each of them. Work through the stages. Shiny thingies at the end. shiny. They're not perfect. Like if I look close enough, I can see where I rubbed the compound into the thing. But I don't have a buffing wheel. Buffing wheel, that's what I was trying to remember earlier. A buffing wheel. I don't have a buffing wheel. So, this is the best I'm going to get out of these. I think these are much better than they were. I'm just gonna run a little screwdriver just in these little screw sort of openings, I guess, just to get any of the compound out that has been brushed in there by the wheels. Don't really want that sticking around in there. It's not a long job. So yeah, these will then go again in the bag on the shelf, and then check back in with the paint stripper. Now, when I did these the other day, I was thinking, oh yeah, they're really shiny, they're going to look so good on the bike. And then I look at the bike, you can't even see them. Oh, they're under there somewhere. I guess you can see this one. So, because it kind of, this is the wrong one. It kind of look like that, so. All that, and you're not even going to see how shiny they are, because they're going to be buried under the fuel tank. Oh well, I'll know they're shiny. So I am going to get my, I got my Dremel out, the little plastic bristle brush, and I'm going to try and get it down here. Can't really see, but in there is sort of full of like road dust, sort of encrusted. Most of it's gone. It is literally just sort of powder, but you're never going to see under here. Nobody's ever going to look under there, but I'll know it's there. And if I can get it out now while like it's in my hand, like I might as well. Right, there we go, that's done. There's no difference. I mean, there's no dirt in there now, which makes a difference to me. I mean, the whole point of this is I've taken this off to clean it. If I'm not going to get just, you know, this last little bit of dirt out, what's the point really? Nobody, like I say, nobody's ever going to see in here. And I mean, once this goes back on the bike, I'll never see in there. But I will know it's there, and that will annoy me. So it's just in my mindset, like if I could have done a better job, why didn't I? So this, I feel like now is the best job I can do with this thing. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the other one. This is going to go in a bag on the shelf for storage, ready to be primed and painted at some point. Yeah, this is pretty much cleaned up. On to the next. So when I took the front sprocket case off, there was a little bit of wiring that went to the oil pressure sensor. And I put that in a bag because it was gross. So this is it. So there's the boot that goes on the oil pressure sensor. I mean, it never looks as bad on the camera. Hang on. There you go. Come on, torch. You can do it. So it's pretty bad in there. It's quite nasty. Lots of gunk. A bit of rust. The wiring itself is actually intact. It's just got like corrosion in here. Oh, you can't see it. Corrosion in there. You know, ancient electrical tape, which is basically turned to plastic now. It's just so manky. the cable sleeve is intact, it's fine, but it is covered in like spray paint that is just flaking off bits of it. Some other spray paint. This has clearly been sprayed as well, but I mean, overall it's in pretty good condition. It just needs like looking after. What is even this? I don't know. This electrical tape. Usually I hate electrical tape because it leaves glue all over everything, but this is so old. It has basically turned to like a hard plastic wrap. So I am going to take all this off. I don't know why this is wrapped up. It might need some I don't know. I was going to say it might need some like heat shrink on it just to protect it for whatever reason, but it looks like it's fine. So I'm going to try, what I'm probably going to do is take this connector off like I did with the other cable. I can't remember which one it was that I repaired. And then I'll probably thread some heat shrink down here just to replace what was the electrical tape. Oh no, I see there's a tiny little split in it there. Okay, I'm gonna have to unwrap this and see what's going on underneath this. Hopefully it's nothing, and I can just heat shrink the rest of it. But I'm gonna wipe all this down, get all this crap off, take the connector off, assuming nothing's wrong with this cable, and then heat shrink it back up. Probably give these connectors a bit of a wire brush because they are covered in just muck. This one goes to the neutral switch, which is this guy. This is super rusted. We've got a new one of them. This is the oil pressure sensor, again, super rusted. I wouldn't bet this can sense anything anymore. So that is going to go straight in the bin. So is the other one. And then this bracket, I think this just fits to the inside the motor behind the crankcase, and that stops the cable. It's basically a cable stay. It stops the cable getting in all gummed up in the front sprocket. So I'll clean this up. This will end up being shiny. There's no coating on it anyway, it's just steel, so it's fine. I will unwrap all this rather, and then I am going to see what's going on with this wiring. Yeah. That's that done. Nothing more further now. Got the paint off this guy. This was fine. Nothing wrong with this. Nothing wrong with the cables. Stuck some heat shrink over here where the tape was. This little one here, I've sort of got a little needle file in there. Bit of contact cleaner as well. I've got some of that. That's pretty good. This little boot was absolutely filthy. The majority of the dirt on this little towel came from just inside here, but you know, it was worth it in the end. It's nice and clean now. Sometimes to get what you want in life, you got to stick your finger in a dirty little hole. So, and this can go back in the bag again, you know by now, on the shelf, ready for reassembly. I think that's all I can do today. I'm not really in the mood to start another massive job. Like, I mean, I've got the clutch plates sitting behind me in this bag. I think I mentioned earlier, they're soaking in oil. they'll be ready to go in soonish. But I think that's probably either a weekend job or a weekday job where I'm not doing other things at the same time. I'm probably just going to slap another coat of paint stripper on this. You can see it's starting to wrinkle and bubble away, so this needs a bit longer. I'll probably just you know, slap some more on there and then leave this possibly overnight, maybe for the rest of the evening. Come back later, see what it's doing. But yeah, I mean, it's going along all right. Just give it a bit more. You can apply this stuff pretty liberally. I mean, that's kind of what it says on the bottle. Usually when stuff says that, I always think that they're just trying to sell you more of it. But in this case, yeah, it does actually work better when there's a thicker layer of it on there. So yeah, this is probably enough for now, he says, as he keeps going. Yeah, you can see that the paintbrush is starting to take some of this paint off, so that's definitely doing its job. Happy with that. Yeah, I'll leave that to do its thing. What else have I got? I got this fan shroud. I got all the paint off with the stripper, but it is super rusty under there, so I'm gonna have to get some like de-rusting stuff. I know this company, Built Hammer, they make a really good rust remover. They do a gel one, and they also do a crystallized one that you dilute in water. I've used the crystallized one in a fuel tank before. The inside of it was just absolutely furry with rust. And after, I think, 24 hours of, you know, putting it in there, turning it, leaving it in there for a while, it was just absolutely spotless. So I think I'm probably going to get some of that again, make a little bath, stick this thing in it. I don't really have that many rusty parts, which I'm obviously thankful for. Could have been a lot worse. I've also not really had too many major issues. I'm contemplating removing 2 of the exhaust studs. 2 came out. Well, I say 2 came out. 2 were already out and in that bag of bolts that I found in that crate to start with. But 2 of them are still in the engine. Now, I don't have a very good track record with exhaust studs, and I'm pretty sure anybody who's ever tried to take them out on an old bike will probably say the same thing. You snap one of them off in your cylinder head, you are in a world of hurt. On the one and buy bikes I had when I was really young, I was replacing the exhaust and I had new studs, so I started taking the old ones out. And then when I was undoing one of the nuts, it actually twisted the stud off because it was so seized into the cylinder head. And I ended up having to get a mobile mechanic to come out, and he couldn't get it out with heat, penetrating oil, nothing. So I had to get him to, he ended up cutting it off, drilling it out, and then tapping a new hole, and ended up putting like a great big 8mm bolt in there. It was awful. And then when I was doing my Bandit, probably, yeah, when I was replacing the exhaust studs on that, one of them actually snapped off in the head again. And I knew what needed to be done because I'd seen the other guy do it before. So what I ended up doing was I drilled a smaller hole, so I didn't touch the threads or anything in the snapped off stud, and I managed to tap a little Allen wrench in there and then slowly get that to turn. That came out. That wasn't too bad. But yeah, that could have gone a lot worse, because if you snap an Allen wrench inside a snapped off bolt, pretty sure they're harder, so you can't really drill them out, and it would have been a right mess. So I am in 2 minds about whether I actually want to touch these studs. Where are they? Here. So these 2, they are well and truly in there. I don't know whether I should just leave them and you know, let sleeping dogs lie and not tempt it, and just get a new pair for the other cylinder. The threads are fine in the other cylinder. There's no reason why they can't go in. It's not like they've come out and been ruined or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't really want to touch them because of the bad experience I've had twice previously. I don't think, it's not like they're going to fall out. I think I might leave them. But anyway, there's nothing else I can do today short of, like I say, starting another big project. So I am probably going to leave this video here. If you're following along, then I will have the next video up, which will probably be, I'll either be cleaning the wiring loom, or depending on whether my shipment arrives with the carburetor kit, or possibly if I buy a refurb kit for the front caliper. Those are two jobs I'm quite looking forward to. I've also got the forks to service. They're down here somewhere. Where are they? They're over here. Haven't touched them yet, but they will need doing. I've also got the wheel bearings and the rear brake hub in the back wheel. I'm also in two minds about whether I'm going to strip the paint off the wheels. The wheels on this one have that weird textured paint that everything has on this bike. The wheels on this other Shadow are much nicer. They are just like a smooth, no, I don't know, satin black. So I'm half tempted to steal the wheels off that one to use on this one, and then deal with those wheels another time. But again, problems for future me. So I'm going to leave this one here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.